with the human race. Fishermen say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, SVG. So the time here, it is now 8:09, and it is time for us to start today's COP chat session. All right. We have in studio with us Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons. He is the officer in charge of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit. And also we have Mr. Garrett Dopwell, Corporal Garrett Dopwell, let me address you properly. And he is also from the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit. All right. And we are speaking on the topic of today, leave no child behind in the fight against human trafficking. So SOP Simmons and Corporal Dopwell, good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Roleza, and pleasant good morning to the listeners of WEFM. We are happy to be in the studios this morning to interact with you and your listeners as we seek to highlight and raise awareness about human trafficking, not just locally, regionally, but also globally. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Samuel.
Just a farmer. Simmons said, Roleza, you said, Miss Samuel.
Yes, good morning again. It's a pleasure once more to be here in this humble room.
You lost for words, Dopwell? That's unusual.
Well, sad to say. Yes, again, good morning to you and everyone out there. I'm happy to be here once again to spread the news and awareness on this heinous crime of human trafficking, along with Superintendent Simmons.
All right. All right.
Good morning.
Chris. Oh, Lord, my Lord. Sorry, Christal.
It's all right.
Crystal is here with us in cyberspace. So she is also joining us for COP chat this morning. So my apologies there, Crystal.
That's all right. Good morning, everybody.
All right.
Doppel, if you could just move closer to the microphone when you're speaking, you're a little low, right?
Is that better now?
A little better. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Hi, good morning, Christal.
Good morning, Simmons.
Yes, I want to also say a pleasant good morning to my staff at Public Relations. I know that they are tuning in. Good morning, team, and good morning to the Commissioner, his executive, and every member of the Royal St. Vincent Grenadines Police Force.
All right. All right. So let's kick off today's program. What is human trafficking?
Right. So very, very important question, Roleza. Human trafficking. What is human trafficking? Now, there is a technical global definition of human trafficking. I would give that to you and listeners, but I also give you technical one is, as I said, is very technical. All right. So according to the United Nations Protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, human trafficking is defined as the recruitment, the transportation, the transfer, the harboring, or receipt of persons by means of the threat or use of force or other forms of coercion, of abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of or of giving or receiving payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having the control over another person for the purpose of exploitation. So that's the technical definition of human trafficking, and that was developed by the United Nations. Now, practically and in layman terms, human trafficking is a crime where victims or human beings, they are recruited by force or threat, deception, abuse, and they're lured to places where they can be controlled or exploited by the human traffickers for a profit, material or financial rewards. Now, these persons or victims, they are promised, lucrative jobs, good careers, and so forth. But very often they end up in situations or conditions that are very inhumane, degrading, illegal, excuse me, and abusive. So that is human trafficking in a nutshell. It is really a crime against humanity. It's a crime also against the individual themselves, where they are brutalized, they are victimized, they are traumatized for the purpose of profit. And human trafficking, it is a large organized criminal network that yields much profit. It is said that human trafficking is the second most lucrative criminal network, second only to drug trafficking and arms smuggling. And according to the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, human traffickers, their annual profits from exploiting, maiming, and sometimes killing other human beings amounts to about $32 billion US dollars. $32 billion US dollars annually. That's what human traffickers makes from exploiting other individuals.
All right. So, in a local context, what are some of the examples or some of the ways in which persons can be lured into human trafficking?
All right. So, Corporate Apple, you take that. Sure. Sorry.
Right. So, victims of human trafficking, they are lured, as Superintendent says, by lucrative salaries being offered to them. So what you find happening is that these traffickers, they will put ads in the papers, on social media, various social media platforms, seeking persons for various positions. The salary is eye-catching that they place, and sometimes they say little or no experience needed. In some cases, they would indicate that they would provide airfare along with accommodations for these individuals. And when you get there, it's a completely different story. The work that you had applied for is not that you're getting to do. You're being tasked to do something else that is way contrary. The salary that you were promised, it's not that. Sometimes they would use a method called debt bondage, where you borrow money from them and they indicate that you have to pay this money out of your salary. How much you're paying, you don't know. Well, you know, you're continuously paying. And this is one of the control methods that they use to control their victims. Now, we know that there are a lot of persons who are seeking employment. And one of the things that I say to individuals, not because it looks enticing that you're going to jump at it. Do your due diligence, investigate the company, ask around, find out if it's real, find out if you know somebody who would have had this position before, who would have worked with this company before you just jump on a plane and go away. Even in your country, the same thing. They're the labor department. You could go into the labor department. You can ask them. You said, okay, I see a job. This is the company name. Is this a legitimate company? Do you do background? Because when you get into these hands of these criminals, these human traffickers, it is very hard to get out because they keep a firm grip on you.
And I think one of the other ways in which they control persons as well, apart from the debt bondage, is one of the easier signs or the earlier signs is they hold your passport, right? Let's say if you go overseas, they hold your passports, and that way you cannot escape. You cannot leave the country. You can't even provide identification as to who you are. So that's also one of the
Yes, correct.
That is so true.
Yes, that is one of the indicators that you have to look for. But just to add to what Corporal Dockel just said about conducting your own due diligence, very often human traffickers they would as I said, place ads in the newspapers and even online because they utilize social media a lot. That is one of their main recruiting grounds, social media, and they would offer jobs overseas. Let's say, for example, you might see an ad for nurses in a foreign country. What we advise persons to do or applicants to do is you could start the process here of due diligence. You could contact the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You could also contact us, the Anti-Trafficking Persons Unit. We can carry out our background checks on the entity. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs can also do that. And further to that, the applicants, they can make contact with our embassies overseas or our consulate in that country so that they could also carry out their background checks to find out if these persons or this company is a legitimate company. Because very often when you leave your country to go overseas to work for a better life, you end up in a very bad situation where you basically turn into a slave. You're working for no salary. You're exploited. You were recruited to do a particular job, but when you get there, you're forced into prostitution or some other kind of human trafficking activity. So it's important that the individual or individuals conduct due diligence checks when they are seeking employment overseas and locally as well, because human trafficking is both local and transnational.
And I suppose one of the other...
Sorry.
Christal, go ahead.
Go ahead with your comment. I'll ask after.
Right. I think one of the other things too, persons need to be mindful of, even if they're doing their checks. Let's say you're going to do a Google search and a website comes up for the particular company. You have to do a bit more searching because anybody can put up a website.
Correct.
And any website can look like it's actually a genuine website, right? So do your checks, do your reviews, etc. But don't just let it be that one check of the company page that you're seeing, because as I said, anybody can put up a website and put up images to make it seem as if it's a genuine business or company.
Correct.
Christal?
Yeah, within the last year, have we had any instances where we've had to do a bit of background checks on? Have we had any reports?
I'm not hearing clearly.
Christal, you could repeat?
Can you hear me, Roleza?
I can
I
hear
was
you.
asking, within the last year, have we had any reports of suspicious activity?
Regarding human trafficking?
Yes.
Of you having to do any background checks on companies, etc.
Well, I think it was the last year we had to engage our counterparts overseas in relation to some ads that were placed in the newspapers and also locally, where a certain company was seeking to recruit nurses from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But those background checks turned out to be legitimate. There were no how could I put it? How should I put it? No red flags.
Packy, packy.
Okay.
Yeah, the companies were legitimate.
Okay.
So those persons would have, leave Simpson Grenadines, and based on our information, they are working legally, getting a salary, and they are not being exploited.
Okay. Very good. All right. So, what are the different types of human trafficking?
Right. So human trafficking comes in many different forms. You have forced prostitution, what we call sexual slavery. There's forced labor. There's domestic servitude, pornography. You have slavery or services similar to slavery, removal of organs, forced begging, child brides, child soldiers. And I want to touch on some of them briefly. Let's start with domestic servitude. Now, on June the 21st this year, the richest family in the UK, they were convicted for exploiting their maids, right? They were charged for human trafficking. However, they weren't convicted for that charge because that charge was dismissed, but they were charged for exploiting their maids. They are billionaires, and they were paying their maids, a meager salary, way below the minimum wage. They took away their passports, and they couldn't move as freely as they wanted. The point I want to make here is that human trafficking can happen anywhere, anytime, and anybody can be a victim of human trafficking. Man, woman, child, and anybody can be a human trafficker. Human traffickers have no face. It can be a police officer, it can be a priest, it can be a politician, it can be a vendor, it can be a radio announcer. Anybody can be a human trafficker because no one expected that this family to be involved in exploiting, people. Now, forced prostitution. This is where the victims, they are recruited in most cases probably as a waitress or a bartender. But when they really get to the workplace, they are forced into prostitution to engage in sex on a commercial scale. Now, I want to make a distinction here because very often people conflate human trafficking with other sexual offenses. All right? Now, when it comes to sex trafficking, the person or the victim must be recruited, transported, transferred, and forced or coerced or was deceived into committing the act. Whereas a different sexual offense, let's say, for example, prostitution, which is illegal in Simpson Grenadines, that would be a case where someone willingly engage in sexual activity with another person for money or for some sort of material benefit. That in itself is not human trafficking. There must be force, coercion, deceit, recruitment,
Almost like a pimp.
and exactly, and most importantly, exploitation. Exploitation. So, in other words, in order to prove human trafficking, there are different elements, and we use the acronym AIME, AME. There must be the act. The act involves the recruitment, the transportation, the transfer, the deception, the force, right? The means includes the kidnapping, abduction, the deception, and so forth. And the E, which stands for exploitation, that must be present in order for human trafficking to take place. So one element out of the three, the act, the means, and exploitation must be present in order for us to charge a suspect for human trafficking.
Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Paul?
Okay, and as Superintendent said, for human trafficking, we have to prove the act, the means, and the purpose. But when it comes to child trafficking, we just have to establish the act and the purpose.
Okay.
Right. And that's because when it comes to human trafficking, a child is defined as someone under the age of 18 years, right? And a child cannot give consent to any sexual activity or any forced labor and so forth. So that's why it means, we don't have to prove them. Once a child was recruited, transported, and exploited, and we have that evidence, then we can charge the person or the suspect for for child trafficking in that regard.
Okay. All right. And before we go to the break, let's address this other topic. What is the difference between human trafficking and human smuggling?
All right, that's a very good question. And this is another area that people conflate. Human trafficking and human smuggling, they're two different crimes, but they have similarities. The difference is, with human trafficking, the victim does not give consent to be exploited or to be transported, to be victimized, and so forth. They are recruited by force or by threats. With human smuggling or smuggling of migrants, it's an arrangement between the person we refer to as the smuggler and the smuggler. So, for example, if I want to enter Grenada illegally, right, by boat, and I know of someone who can take me there, let's say from Union Island or the Southern Grenadines, and I decide to pay that person a fee to take me to Grenada illegally. I got there, they didn't check with immigration, customs, and the authorities. Now that is defined as smuggling. That is smuggling. So smuggling, the smuggler and the smuggler, there's an arrangement between them. But with human trafficking, the victims, they do not give consent. They are forced to do whatever they have to do. They're exploited day in, day out, traumatized, dehumanized. So that's the difference. But what the similarities is this. Both of them are organized crime. They are carried out by organized criminals. They're organized criminal networks. Both of them, they're very profitable. And lately, starting a few years ago, human smugglers, they also turn out to be human traffickers as well, because sometimes a person may hire a smuggler to take them from point A to point B. And when they reach point B, thinking that they would be free to roam about, there are human traffickers waiting there to capture them and to enslave them.
All right. So we will take a quick break at this time, and then we would return. And at that point, we would invite persons to call in to make a contribution if you have any question. All right. So let's take a very quick break at this time.
Do you want to feel clean or refreshed after using the bathroom, whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seat. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. Let's hear what our national table tennis champion, Damian Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our smart toilet seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
Yes, sir.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry.
We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business, yeah. Love it, embrace it.
That's the sound of your animals. Strong, healthy, and delivering yields you love. That didn't just happen. It began with you feeding them only the best. East Caribbean Feeds. Rest assured, we only produce your feeds with premium ingredients. No hormones, no animal byproducts. Just everything your animal needs for maximum nutrition. Because your animals deserve only the best. East Caribbean Feeds for maximum nutrition.
ECGC has slashed feed prices by 8 to 10%. Check your local supplier for more details. ECGC, providers of feed for maximum nutrition.
Cloud9 wants you to know that they're having their biggest sale ever. Save between 50 to 80% on everything store-wide. Shoes and clothing for the whole family, toys, household items, swimwear, and more. Don't miss out on this crazy sale. Everything must go. What are you waiting for? Get it before you miss it. Offer applies while stocks last. Some restrictions apply. Cloud9 is open Mondays to Fridays 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
99.9 WEFM.
Such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, so we are back with the second installment of sorts of today's Cop Chat. And today we are speaking on the topic of Leave No Child Behind in the fight against human trafficking. In studio with Christal and myself, we have Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, as well as Corporal Garrett Doppwell, both from the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit. Just a gentle reminder that this is an interactive program, and if you wish to pose a question or to make a comment in relation to anything that's being said this morning, you can call us at 457-9997. That's both a direct call as well as on WhatsApp. All right, so we are going to jump right into it. All right, so next question is, what have been the efforts in terms of combating human trafficking here in SVG?
All right. So thank you very much for that question. Excuse me. First of all, I want to say that Simmons and the Grenadines is an international partner in the
All right,
fight.
so before you continue, let's just take this quick call. Right?
Sure. Thanks.
Here, caller, don't go away. Just comment. There we go. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Interesting topic. What I want to know, and I know is it superintendent or ASP still? What is it?
He's superintendent.
Oh, congratulations, my boy. I mean, you know who's speaking here, and I just want to know if this is because recently I know human trafficking is not something that is popular or has been a concern. I don't know, statistically speaking, if anyone here has been charged for human trafficking, and or what the other one is human smuggling, like how in other parts of the Caribbean, Haiti, for instance, they pay and get on a boat to go somewhere, you know, to get out of Haiti and so on. So I would like to know that if anyone, because this to me is something recent in terms of our concern about human trafficking. The other question is, and I know this has been used since many years ago, can a woman who pretends right? Because
Okay, Dave, start with that last part, please. You broke up a bit.
Wow. Yeah, so the next question, could the police intervene, for instance, if they know of a woman faking pregnancy?
Dave, I guess this question ain't supposed to come out. We're barely hearing you. Start again. Dave?
Yes, I'm hearing you. But okay, the question is, are you hearing me?
We're hearing you now. Just whatever you do, don't shift your position.
Yes, I'm asking the question. Could the police intervene if they have news that a woman is faking pregnancy because she wants to commit, I should say, a criminal activity. And like I said, I've had this experience knowing of somebody who came here and pretended to be pregnant, and she wasn't pregnant. It's all because she wanted to get a baby to tell her husband that she came with a big belly, but she wasn't really pregnant. Thank you. Hope you can understand what I'm asking.
All right,
Yeah, I
caller.
don't see how that last thing what it has to do with human trafficking, but okay.
Yeah, caller, thank you very much for your questions. To answer the second question first, certainly, if the police have any information that anybody intends to commit a crime, certainly we would act on that. We would act on that in order to prevent that crime from happening. So that is how I would answer that question. To your first question, yes, the Anti-Trafficking Persons Unit charged someone for human trafficking. That was in 2015. That individual was charged for labor trafficking. The matter went before the court, and during the trial, it was dismissed for lack of sufficient evidence. So yes, we have charged someone. That was back in 2015. To answer your question about our efforts to combat human trafficking in Simmons and the Grenadines, as I said earlier on, Simmons and the Grenadines, we are a global partner in the fight against human trafficking. So the government have implemented legislative, legal, and also institutional framework to combat human trafficking. And I want to start with the legal aspect of it. In 2001, the Parliament enacted the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Act. That act made human trafficking a crime. Prior to that act, human trafficking was not a crime in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And under that act, the offense of human trafficking is defined as follows. Section 5, subsection 1 says, a person who engages in, conspires to engage in, attempts to engage in, assists another person to engage in, or organizes or directs another person to engage in trafficking persons commits an offense and is liable on conviction on indictment to a fine of $200,000 or 15 years imprisonment or both. So the legislation, the punishment for being convicted for human trafficking on this legislation, when it was passed, is 15 years imprisonment or a fine of $250,000 or both. But I want to make it clear here that in May of 2023, the Parliament amended this legislation. So the new penalty is jail. Once you're convicted for a crime of human trafficking in St. Vincent and Grenadines, you will go to jail. There's no longer a fine to be paid because human trafficking is a very lucrative crime. The traffickers can easily pay whatever fine the court hands down on them. So the act was amended last year. Once you're convicted, strictly jail. Secondly, the government created the Anti-Trafficking Persons Unit. Now, this unit's primary role is to investigate human trafficking, train law enforcement officers and other stakeholders in the fight against human trafficking, to sensitize the general public about human trafficking. And we also submit quarterly and yearly reports to the cabinet or the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons. We
Ready? We have a call. You want
okay,
to?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Take the call.
Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. I just called to ask a question. What is the difference between human trafficking and kidnapping? What is the difference between human trafficking and kidnapping? That would be my question.
Okay. Are you saying on 9 for the answer?
No, I'll listen after.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, Senior, for your question. Now, I'll answer the question this way. Kidnapping is one of the elements that is used to carry out human trafficking. All right, that's one of the means in which the human traffickers carry out their act. They can kidnap someone through form of recruitment and exploit them. Kidnapping now is when someone is taken against their will and taken from point A to point B. It doesn't have to be from Kitels to Kingston. It can be in a confined area as well. For example, let's say you there are two houses, on one part of land.
Okay.
You can kidnap someone from one house and take them to the other house. Human trafficking, no, it is the recruitment. The recruitment, the transfer, the transportation, the transfer by force, by deception, by abduction, which kidnapping, also by there's another one, another means.
I have recruitment, transportation, use of force, abduction.
Right.
Right.
Yes. And coercion. Yes.
Right. Mhm.
Coercion. Right. So there's kidnapping and human trafficking. They're totally two different crimes.
But one
Totally
is an
two-
element of.
Yes.
Abduction is an element
yes,
of.
Yes.
Right.
It's an element of.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Christal?
Yes, I have a question. If you found yourself being a victim of human trafficking, how do you get out?
Well, victims of human trafficking, I can say it's very hard for them to get out. Reason being is that these criminals, these human traffickers, they tend to have you under lock and key, under close supervision. Now, remember, to them, you're their asset, their way of making money. So they would be protecting you by all means. And what they tend to do is that they would have you under supervision. So if they're moving you from one location to the other, that is being done under supervision. You don't have freedom of access to move around. You don't have freedom to be on your phones, all these devices, social media, everything is restricted. All you're just doing is just working, doing whatever task they have you designated to do in order to make money. Now, rarely you would find a victim of human trafficking being able to reach out to seek assistance. That is why it's such a hard crime to identify, because it's done under the radar. And because these victims of human trafficking, they are controlled by threats, as Superintendent Simmons said. If you try to seek help, I will kill you, I will kill your loved ones, I will kill your family. So these victims, they tend not to really want to jeopardize their friends and families. Now, what you find happening that we in law enforcement, we have to go out and look for these victims of human trafficking in particular areas. Places of interest that we might suspect that maybe human trafficking might be taking place. So we have to do our due diligence. We do our due diligence, go to these areas, do our necessary checks to identify. Now, the thing is that, as I said, human trafficking, it's under the radar. So human trafficking can be taking place right in your backyard. Your neighbor can be a human trafficker, but you don't know because you don't know what to look for in respect of the red flags. You could be going to a salon to be doing your nails, to be doing your hair, your makeup, and that individual who is doing that, providing that service to you, that person can be a victim of human trafficking. Victims of human trafficking, they walk among us, but until we know what to look for, we cannot identify. The average individual will not be able to identify.
All right. But if I do suspect something, right? Because if I see like unusual activity happening by my neighbor's house, people who are, let's say, of a different ethnicity or people just coming and going, what should I probably do in that situation? Could I just reach out to you and with my suspicion, even if I don't have concrete proof?
Yes, and you should. As we say in human trafficking or in crime fighting, if you see something, say something.
Say something.
So if you suspect that something is happening, at that house, you see, and not just expatriates or foreigners. It can be locals as well. There's a lot of activity, people coming and going, and you never saw that happening before, and it arouses your suspicion. Please reach out to us or to the police. We are located at the Kittels Police Station, the Anti-Trafficking Bosses Unit. You can call us at 45-61750, or you can call 457-1211 and ask them to transfer you to the Trafficking Persons Unit. You can also reach us via email on social media, on Twitter, and so forth.
All right, and out of curiosity, right? So if I happen to see something at 9 p.m. and I call to reach out to this unit, call would go through, right?
Yes,
9 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Just checking. Just checking.
Police force operate 24/7.
Yes. Call anytime.
All right.
Anytime, yes.
All right. So we are going to take our final ad break at this time, and then we would it's almost an hour. And then we would wrap up with the activities for this year. All right. So let's take a very quick break.
At Lynch Caribbean, yes, we offer comprehensive insurance solutions and broking, but we are more than an insurance broker. We drill down to your core business strategy. We keep a pulse on risk to keep your operations healthy.
On your mark, get set.
Along the way, helping you to drive competitive advantages. At Lynch Caribbean, we have your back. Contact us today for insurance solutions, strategic risk advisory, and more. Call 453-3300. Email info@lynchcaribbean.com or visit our office in Beachmont, Kingstown. Follow Lynch Caribbean SVG on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, or visit www.lynchcaribbean.com.
Ready, set, surf. Singer, your favorite family store is now online. Log on today at www.singersvg.com and enjoy our store and products right at your fingertips. Now online are your trusted brands that you have come to love. Refrigerators to chest freezers, gas cookers to toasters, air fryers, mattresses, living room sets, and so much more. Browse our products, check the specs, compare brands and prices, and request parts all online. We have also made bill payments easier, more convenient, and simpler just for you. Log on to www.singersvg.com to learn more. Singer, your family company is keeping up with you and the times. Visit our website today and experience a whole new world of Singer, your trusted online family company.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's a whole new world out there. Reaching new customers and getting products faster. That's what it's all about. Ocean freight rates are skyrocketing, so don't pay more for slower service. It's time to switch to faster, more reliable air cargo service with SkyMax Cargo. Up to 3 flights weekly to and from the USA, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. Providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special low rates on small packages and air cargo, contact SkyMax today. 784-456-5400. Local agents SwiftPack, Interprime Cargo. Call 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
99.9 WEFM.
Such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in no use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
All right, so we are back with the final minutes of today's Cop Chat, where we have in studio with us Superintendent of Police Junior Simmons, as well as Corporal Garrett Doppel of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit. All right, and we're speaking on the topic today: leave no child behind in the fight against human trafficking. And I know that internationally, the UN observes July 30th as Anti-Trafficking in Persons Day. I'm not sure if I'm quoting it correctly. Let's see. Hold on, I'll pull it up, right? World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, right? So that's July 30th every year. So could you speak a bit more to that? And in terms of what activities are being observed for that day? Or being held to observe that day?
All right, thank you. Yes, so some years ago, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a Security Council resolution to observe United Nations World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, and the date chosen was July 30th. So every year, July 30th, the world come together to highlight and to raise awareness about human trafficking victims, what they go through, and also speak about what countries are doing to combat human trafficking. So this year, the theme is Leave No Child Behind in the fight against human trafficking. And Stevens and Grenadines would be observing UN World Day along with the global community. And we have several activities planned to do that. Currently, there is a poster competition that is going on. It was launched over 2 weeks ago, and this poster competition is being held in 3 different categories in terms of age ranges. We have children between the ages of 7 to 10, 11 to 14, and 15 to 18. So the participants, what they have to do, they would create a poster or a painting depicting, using their imagination, depicting the theme, Leave No Child Behind. How they see that theme, and they're going to bring that out in a drawing or a painting. The date for submission is July 22nd, which will be next Monday. That's the submission date, and we are hoping that the kids, they would try to meet that deadline.
Where are they? Excuse me. Where are they submitting it to?
Right. So the mode of submission is in two formats. They're required to submit a physical or a hard copy, in an envelope with their name, their address, their age, telephone number, email address, and that envelope will be addressed to the Anti-Trafficking Persons Unit, Stop Human Trafficking poster competition, and they can leave that envelope at the Kittels police station or Central Police Station, and we would get that. The second mode of submission is via Google Forms. So there's a link where they can upload a soft copy of their painting or drawing, and that link was published in the media as well, and that link is https://forms.gle/JE3AFM-V58YJFH-B6D7. So that's the Google form link.
All right. So for persons who wish to get more details, because there are specifications with regards to the drawings themselves, the posters, right? There are size specifications as well as information regarding the prizes to be won. So this was published in all of the newspapers, last Friday's newspapers.
Correct.
But where else can they find it on social media? I know that I saw Doppel posted, but I'm not sure if it's actually, my apologies, if it's actually on the police Facebook page. So where else can they find this information?
Okay, so this information is posted on the unit's Facebook page,
Okay.
which is anti-trafficking in persons on Facebook, and also on Instagram at ATIPU_SVG.
Okay.
It is also posted on police Facebook page as well.
Okay.
RSUDPF Police.
Okay, good. Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And there's some exciting prizes for the participants.
Mhm.
So, for example, the first place winners, and as I said, it's been 3 categories. The first place winners, they're expected to receive a Chromebook as their prize. The second place winners a tablet, and third place a cellular phone. So it's very exciting, and we are really encouraging the students to participate in the poster competition. And also, not only that, but we are calling on the parents and every intention to join us on July the 30th, the UN World Day, where we'll be having a march and rally in Kingston to raise awareness about human trafficking. We'll gather at Heritage Square from 10 a.m. to commence the march. We march along Bay Street. We'll make a right turn on Bedford Street, onto what we call Back Street or Halifax Street, and then we take our time and go back to Heritage Square to commence the rally. And at that rally, there would be speeches, entertainment, presentations by groups and individuals. It promises to be a very exciting and educational, uplifting event. So I'm inviting one and all. Roleza, I'm inviting you and your staff here at WEFM to join us on that day. And please wear blue.
Right. Okay.
Blue is the international color.
Blue?
Against trafficking.
Blue, yes.
Yeah, blue.
Mhm.
Yeah, so wear anything blue. A hat, a t-shirt, a pants, a shoe. Yes, anything blue. And come out and support us on that day as we raise awareness about human trafficking globally.
Okay. All right. So final words in half a minute to both of you.
Okay, so as I indicated, human trafficking, it's under the radar crime. And it's time we open our eyes and see the victims of human trafficking. See something, say something. Be our brother's keeper. Don't turn a blind eye, because human trafficking affects every single one. And if you're not careful, you yourself might end up being a victim of human trafficking.
Right. And finally, I just want to encourage all of us to play our role in combating human trafficking and crimes in general. If every intention can, do something to help to prevent crime and violence that are being perpetrated right now, our country would be a safer place. So that's my encouragement for all of us to denounce violence and crime and do all that we can to uplift our nation. Walk along with the police. The police cannot fight crime alone. We need the society, we need the community. So please, let us work together. God bless you. Thank you.
All right.
That is so true.
Thank you, guys. Take care. I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure which department owes us a t-shirt, but I'm just putting that out there, that reminder.
Was us a t-shirt.
Yeah.
A long time ago, because I've been here about a couple months and I never hear about this t-shirt.
No? Oh boy, it's
No.
been that long.
So y'all have to increase the numbers now. All right.
I hear you.
All right. So thank you very much, SOP Simmons and Corporal Doppel. What's going on with me? Probably won't name me over, but Corporal Doppel for joining us today for today's edition of Cop Chat. And of course, listeners, Cop Chat happens every week on a Thursday at 8:05. So join us next week for our next edition. The time here in SVG, it is now 9:07.